Look like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her infamous 22 number to a new one.
All right, you gotta hear this one. Team USA just released their training camp roster, complete with player numbers. And let me tell you, fans almost immediately spotted something that has the entire basketball world seeing red. We're talking about Caitlin Clark, arguably the single biggest name in women's basketball right now, being told she cannot wear her iconic number 2. That's right, the number that is completely synonymous with her record-breaking career, the number that has literally made her millions of dollars in branding, was just snatched away. And the reason they're giving for it, well, it might just shock you. But before we dive deep into why Team USA made this call and explore whether the fan outrage is truly justified, I need to know what you think. Drop a comment below and tell me, should Caitlin Clark be allowed to wear whatever number she wants, period? Or is it more important for her to follow the established traditions of Team USA? This whole controversy really peels back the curtain on something fascinating, and maybe a little troubling about how the entire program actually operates. Okay, so let's get into it. Team USA Basketball drops their training camp roster, signs all the player numbers, and I mean within minutes of this information hitting the internet, fans absolutely lost their minds. Because right there, clear as day on the official roster sheet, was Caitlin Clark listed with number, not 22, 17. A number that has absolutely zero connection to her career, her global brand, or her identity as a player. And people are quite rightfully screaming from the rooftops, what in the world is going on here?
Because we ultimately know she was snubbed from the cover of Team USA, and not only is they snubbing her, the disrespect is continuing because it's looking like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her number. Now, this article has come out.
Let's look at the actual roster numbers that were released, because this adds some important context. Kelsey Plum was given number 5. Jackie Young got number 13. Derica Hamby is listed with 15. Chelsea Gray has number 8, and Kalea Copper will be wearing number 7. And here's the part that really stands out. All of the players who were on the most recent Olympic roster got to keep their existing numbers. Every single player who was already an established part of that Team USA system maintained their jersey number, no questions asked. But every player who was new to this specific roster, they were all assigned seemingly random numbers, mostly above 15. Now, before we really dissect why this is happening, let's just pause and acknowledge what fans are truly upset about here. This isn't just about a number on a jersey. This is fundamentally about respect. This is about recognizing that Caitlin Clark's number 22 has become as iconic in the world of women's basketball as Michael Jordan's 23 or Kobe Bryant's 24 were in the men's game. It's reached that level of instant recognition. When you see that number on a women's basketball jersey, your brain immediately goes to Caitlin Clark. It's her brand. It is her entire identity. It's the number that millions upon millions of new fans associate with her absolute dominance in college and her explosive arrival in the W.
We haven't even made it to training camp yet. We have not even made it to the December 12th Women's USA Basketball training camp yet, and they are already.
So when Team USA just casually assigns her number 17, as if she's just another hopeful trying out for the team, it lands as a massive sign of disrespect. It creates this perception that they're either completely clueless about the monumental impact she's had on the sport, or even worse, that they might be deliberately trying to diminish her importance. And that right there is the core of why fans are so furious. This situation looks like yet another example of the Team USA establishment undervaluing Caitlin Clark, especially after the firestorm that erupted when they left her off the Olympic roster earlier this year. But this is where the whole situation gets a lot more complicated, and frankly a little less outrageous than it might seem at first glance. You see, Team USA Basketball operates under a long-standing tradition of only using jersey numbers 4 through 15 for their players. This isn't some new rule they cooked up just to mess with Caitlin. This is a practice they've followed for years, and it's rooted in old FIBA regulations that used mandate that international teams could only use numbers 4 through. Now here's the kicker. FIBA actually dropped that requirement all the way back in 2014. For a decade now, teams have been free to use any number from 0 to 99, just like they do in the NBA and WNBA. But for its own reasons, Team USA decided to maintain the 4 through 15 tradition anyway. Their official line is that it's about maintaining continuity and honoring the rich history of USA basketball, which sounds respectable in theory, but in practice it leads to ridiculous situations exactly like this one, where the biggest star in the sport is forced to abandon her iconic number. And before anyone claims this is all about Caitlin, let's be crystal clear. This policy affects multiple players. A'ja Wilson, a two-time WNBA MVP, wears 22 for the Las Vegas Aces. Cameron Brink also wears so you actually have three incredibly high-profile players who all rock the same number in the WNBA. And Team USA's brilliant solution to this potential conflict was to just ban the number entirely. They simply declared that nobody gets 22, left the number unused and assigned everyone random digits instead. If you look back at the men's Olympic team from the last games, they followed the exact same protocol. LeBron James wore number 6 instead of his legendary 23, and Kevin Durant wore number 7. They all slotted neatly into that 4 through 15 range. So this isn't a policy that's specifically targeting Caitlin or women's basketball. It's just the rigid way Team USA operates across the board. They're stubbornly sticking to a tradition that technically has no reason to exist anymore. But this is where the nuance comes in, and why fans are still completely justified in their frustration. Yes, Team USA has this tradition. Yes, they apply it consistently. But traditions can and should be changed when they stop making sense. Forcing the most marketable player in the history of women's basketball to abandon her iconic number just to maintain a rule that FIBA itself doesn't even require anymore. That's the definition of prioritizing bureaucracy over common sense. The roster that was released is for a training camp, which means these aren't necessarily the final numbers for an actual competition. Think of them as practice jerseys for a December camp designed for talent evaluation and building chemistry. But the very fact that they assigned these numbers and specifically gave Caitlin number 17 tells you everything about how the program is thinking about player identity and branding. What's especially interesting is that historically, players who wore certain numbers for youth national teams didn't get to keep them when they graduated to the senior team. Caitlin Clark herself wore number 6 when she played for USA Basketball at the youth level, and Paige Bueckers wore number 5. But now at this camp, Paige is wearing 19 and Caitlin is wearing 17. Random assignments with no connection to their past or present career. This has led some to speculate that the number assignments might be a secret signal about the team's pecking order. The theory goes that numbers 4 through 15 were given to players who are considered locks for the World Cup roster, while numbers 16 and above were handed to players who are still fighting for a spot. If that's true, it would imply that Team USA views Caitlin as someone who still needs to prove herself, rather than the established global superstar she so clearly is. And honestly, that would be even more disrespectful than the number change itself. There's also the practical reality that when the final World Cup roster is set, Caitlin probably won't end up with 17 anyway. She'll be assigned something within that 4 to 15 range. But what number could that even be? All the obvious choices are already claimed by players with more seniority in the program. Sabrina Ionescu wore number 6 at the last Olympics. Is Caitlin supposed to take that from her? Not a chance. So she'll be stuck with some random number that means nothing to her or her massive fan base. The comparison to the men's team is really instructive here. When LeBron James had to wear number 6 for Team USA, people understood it. He was joining a team with established traditions, but LeBron was also treated with the immense respect his status deserved. He was welcomed as a cornerstone, not made to feel like he was on trial. The big question with Caitlin is whether she's being afforded that same level of respect. And based on everything we've seen from the Olympic snub to this number fiasco, it really doesn't feel like it feels like they're treating her like any other player trying to make the squad, even though she is objectively the biggest draw the sport has right now. Some defenders of Team USA argue that treating everyone equally is the right approach, that you can't play favorite. And in a perfect world, that sounds fair. But in the real world, we all know that's not how it works. Veterans get preference, and players with international experience get the benefit of the doubt. A hierarchy absolutely exists, so pretending it doesn't just to justify not accommodating Caitlin's number feels deeply dishonest. The reality is, with 3 players wearing number 22, Team USA could have handled this respectfully. They could have had a conversation with Caitlin, A'ja, and Cameron to figure it out. Instead, they took the easy bureaucratic way out. Nobody gets it. It's a solution that treats professional athletes with massive personal brands like interchangeable cogs in a machine. And that's precisely what feels so wrong. This timing is also frustrating. Caitlin just endured a rookie season filled with constant criticism and immense pressure. The last thing she needs is another distraction, another reminder that the national program might not fully value her. She should be able to just show up, wear her number, and play basketball. Instead, even her jersey is a controversy. And the argument that the numbers don't matter falls completely flat because Team USA made them public, knowing full well people would react. The fundamental problem here is an organization clinging to a tradition that creates more problems than it solves. Now that FIBA doesn't require the 4 through 15 rule, enforcing it serves no practical purpose. It's tradition for tradition's sake. And when that clashes with modern player identity and branding, it's time to rethink the tradition. Think about how much of Caitlin's brand is tied to number 22. her merchandise, her social media, her entire public persona. Playing for Team USA in a different number creates a disconnect that hurts marketing, fan engagement, and the growth of the sport. The women's game is exploding right now, largely because of crossover stars like Caitlyn. When Team USA makes decisions that ignore that reality, they're fumbling a golden opportunity. At the end of the day, this is frustrating because it was also avoidable. Team USA could have been flexible. They could have recognized that sometimes bending an outdated rule serves the program far better than rigidly enforcing it. Instead, they did what bureaucracies do. They applied the rules uniformly without context. And now they're facing a backlash from fans who feel their favorite player is being disrespected. So there you have it. Caitlin Clark can't wear number 22 for Team USA because of a tradition that doesn't even need to exist anymore. Is that fair, or is it flat out disrespectful? Let me know exactly what you think down in the comment. And if you want more deep dives into Team USA drama and women's basketball controversies, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We are just getting started. See you in the next one.